Okay, so this is week 4, video 2, mastering volumes in trading with Urban Forex. Now, in this video, what I'm going to be talking about is the several different examples and variations along with high volume spikes. So let's start with the high volume spikes. What do they mean? And more importantly, the high volume spikes go with high volume price. Okay, so think about that for a moment. What does that even mean? What is this brown guy on the screen talking about, right? Okay, so let's take a look at certain things. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to do it like that. Let me scroll back a little bit so I can show you some things. Now, remember in the last video I was telling you, if you have an increase in volume during the pullback phase, it means it's gonna take longer. It doesn't mean it's over. Okay, the sells are over. Okay, but what does it mean when the sells are over? When you have a high volume that's very, very large. Now, when I say large, it means it's above your average blue MA, well above it, and it's above everything that you can see on your screen. These are signs of maybe the large players are cashing out. Remember, to activate a trade from that high, okay, from wherever the high point is when they started the downtrend, the larger players, every step of the way, they were only adding money. Because whenever the range pop happened, they added money. The range pop, they added money. The range pop, they added money. So, and on the pullbacks, they're not removing any money, right? But when you have an increase in volume right there, is when they're actually trying to extract the money. Like they're getting out big time. Okay? Now think about it in this sense. Think about it in this sense. So let's say you're in a buy, right? Okay, you're in a buy and you're buying it. The trade is going like this, and then as your buy starts to perform, it goes like that. And you are aware that there is an SNR up here. Okay? And as the prices are going up, it pulls back a little bit and you're like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? But as the prices go up again around here, is that where you exit? Or do you exit when it does this? And then you exit here. Okay? So the exits are going to come in this area, right? While the market is still moving upwards. The same thing happens for the larger players. While the market's still moving, once it reaches an area where they feel comfortable with, they do their cashing out. Okay? It's either that, based on levels and technical analysis, or it is a big fundamental reasons where something showed up in the news and they did not like what that means. Okay, all of this can be caused by news. All of this can be caused by news. But when you have something very, very large, it means there is a very high possibility of they heard something that they didn't like and it's causing panic in the market. Not amongst the retail traders and the average public, because that really doesn't affect the market. What affects the market is when the larger players panic and they need to move their money. Okay? Because that's where their real money is. The big, big, big chunk of money. Okay? Does that make sense? So, and once they start moving their money, obviously the public will eventually follow. But that's going to be really, really late. Right? Okay. So let's start to look at this in terms of what does these high volume spike mean? And now, here's one of those candles, as I was discussing with you guys in one of the previous videos, is... do you see how that candle has a big tail on top here? Or a big wick on top, but then also has a big tail on the bottom over here. So where is this high volume coming from? Is someone hitting it on the buy side when it came down here? Or did someone hit it on the sell side when it got up to here? Okay, just because the candle is red, we can't just assume it was hit for a sell. We need to investigate. We need to investigate. So let's now dig this open and let's see where this thing is from. Okay. Let me see here. Should be around here somewhere. The scroll of death. Okay, we're almost there. Here we go. Here we go. So, as we look at this even further, we're like, okay, we can see a high volume that activated on the buy side. Look at that. But then, as it broke through that range, it also reactivated on the sell side. Is that a good sign for those who are looking for this as a continuation of the downtrend? Okay, it was a complete turnaround. It was like a lopsided V almost, if you want to put it that way, where a high volume got completely devoured. But on the higher time frame, we're like, I don't know what that is. The candle has a wick on top and a tail on the bottom. I don't know where the volume comes from. And this gives you a little bit of a finer print of, okay, I can understand what happened over there. It means the sellers are still in control. Okay? And they're in control a little bit healthier. So, does that give you a sign that they're cashing out? No. Okay? It's not a sign that they're cashing out. So, it's these things you want to keep track of. You want to keep track of because they're going to give you some clues on when you see a high volume, are they looking to get out? And these are major trend changes when you see a very high volume just suddenly show up on your screen. Okay, look at all these volumes here. Here. Pretty high, pretty high, pretty high, pretty high. So there is no guessing of, well, what does high mean, Naveen? Well, high means it is high to a point where everyone is going to notice. That's what high means. Okay, you might have NFP and you might have a normal volume like this. This is normal. It's higher than the surrounding areas, but it's normal. It's a normal increase in volume. Okay, now take a look at this one. Okay, we got a little bit of a higher volume in here. Okay, because if I take it a little bit further back, it's like, what's all this? What's all this? What's all this? Okay, this seems to be the norm. Okay, here's my blue MA here. That tells me, according to the MA, that's the norm. But even if I take the norm of all the high spikes and stuff like that, it seems to be around this price, right? More or less. And then this major thing happened. So this uptrend basically ended up dying and they cashed out completely. Okay? So when you look at it in that sense, what happens to the markets ever since that moment? Okay, you don't see any prices going up ever again. But you might even be saying, yeah, but Naveen, by the time I get this, the market's already gone. So let's take it one step at a time. Is it really gone? Did you not know this ahead of time that it's coming? So let's take a look. So earlier we have high volumes, ranges here with the pop. Okay, decent size volume, not the greatest. All right. Again, a little tiny range and then a pop. Okay, whether you count that as a range or you don't, at least you have a break of a high. Okay, with an increase in volume. Okay, that tells you the buyers are still in control and then it's dead. So this pop that he does up here, nothing. Okay, following that, the next pop here, some volume here. And then the pullback that starts coming in right here. Look at that size of these volumes. Look how close that is. Okay. Generally, you see the pullbacks are supposed to do something that's like, yeah, you can see it. It's much lower. It's much lower, like half. Okay. In these particular cases, things are getting a little bit weird. But even if you go and dissect this on the 15, that is just a singular pullback. You don't even have a V and a test yet. Okay, so it just comes down, goes up for a V, and as you're waiting for your test, this thing starts slamming down, and it starts to break the lows of that day with an increase in volume. Now, on the contrary, when this thing starts to set in, your brain is now supposed to look at this like, Okay, no need to panic. This is a fresh move coming in. This is a fresh move coming in because following that, look at that volume. Even though, look at those strong green candles. Very, very powerful. Look at the volume. Dead, 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 dead. Little pullback there. Dead, 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 dead. Okay, nothing compared to this guy, right? Okay, so as you're looking at this, you're starting to see, okay, well, this is going to become an opportunity for a sell again. Okay, but always remember one thing. Okay, if we were to go on this particular piece and go into the 15 and try to understand this, it's going to look like, wait a minute, everything that I read on the 15 says, here's my V. Why is my test going up? Doesn't make any sense. But even if my test is going up, it's going up in a very increased size of volume. It's almost like this range broke with a higher volume, doesn't it? Okay, it probed down and then it broke with a higher volume. This means it's going to take longer to develop the sell. They're going to mess around a little bit. And why are they going to mess around? This is where your technical analysis knowledge comes in, is because any uptrend does not suddenly change into a downtrend. It needs to transition. It needs to go from up to this to down, or resume back up depending on what it shows you in the sideways market. Okay? So it doesn't go up and then suddenly down. Like markets don't do that. Okay? Because you don't get a good price that way. You need this range to allow the larger players to build their position. Okay, little by little, little by little, little by little. Okay? All right. Now, what I want to discuss, let's go into the next video. I'm going to dissect this piece open to show you a little bit on what it means to trade by volume, by price. Okay? See you in the next video.